Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folari. Thank God it's Friday, right? But we've got some serious business today on Friday. And I'm harking back to, about, 2 days ago? And it was that speech of His Royal Majesty Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi, Jaja II, Arole Odua, and indeed Ooni of Ife. I gave the complete title. His speech that went viral, because I'm sitting right next to our dear friend Seyi Adeyemo, publisher IWA. Sometimes I say Iwa, but it's Inside Watch Africa. So thank you very much for joining us. But that speech of His Royal Majesty that's gone viral now, I don't know even what to call it, but just looking at the opening line of his speech, taking a prestige pause and then, intoning that we don't have any other place. This nation belongs to all of us. And then he proceeded to, as it were, speak. And his emphasis was the youth, who Kabiyesi sort of said, look, any way you look at it, the youth, the way he defined it, making up something like 70%, of our society here. And I think he was saying that the privileged, hardly do they make up 30%. And so he was really saying in there that, you know what, guys, we are all in trouble. And it was one of those kind of speeches. He said, how many of you here, including the speaker, including the Senate president, including what he could refer to as keepers of our borders, meaning the military chiefs, how many of you can go to your constituencies and stay there for a week? Now, that was quite telling. But surely was His Royal Majesty, trying on a bit of drama, or do you think he was really speaking to the core of the issue?
I think it's important that as a people, and I'm particularly thankful to His Royal Highness for
Royal Majesty, actually.
Majesty, that's true. There's a difference between the Royal Majesty and His Royal Highness. That he has decided to take us on this journey.
Really?
Because
it was something of a tour de force.
It's something for me that is long overdue. Whether we like it or not, we all know what is happening in Mali right now. And, the rest of Africa, the rest of West Africa, there's either a coup d'etat, and we had thought all of those things were gone. We had thought, we were done with all of this. But the truth of the matter is, if we do not tell our youths or direct them in the way they should go, they would take it upon themselves because they're human beings. And most often, because they are not guided, the things they will do will naturally hurt all of us. What happened during the NSAS experience,
for example,
is something that I, as a Nigerian, pray never happens to us again. But it is not enough to pray. We need to do the right thing.
And the right thing, first of all, people could talk about the right thing for, ages on end. But, the Ooni seemed to be suggesting that part of not doing the right thing is not involving the youth enough. He even made reference to the august venue in which they were. He said, where are the youths? We're talking among ourselves. Everybody who has seen that speech now, because it went viral, he said people have spoken. He said the Senate president has spoken, the deputy speaker has spoken, his eminence, it must have been the Sultan, they have all spoken, and they're all saying the same thing. But pray tell, where are the youth here? Where are they? They're absent. So how do they know what's going on, and how can we begin to actually influence them, talk with them, as we say, borrow ourselves some sense? He was implying that we continue to do this and we somehow expect a change. It was scary the way he put it, because elders are not used to speaking such forthright language. Perhaps you'll agree.
And this, for me, like I said again, is so timely, because what happened between us and South Africa, some of us argued severally that it was avoidable, because if we are taking time to tell the young people the relationship that exists between South Africa and Nigeria, the fact that we're people that have always done things for ourselves, I am certain that the youth won't have rose to want to chase out Nigerians from a country where I know for a fact that my senior brothers in Unilag, they used to force them to contribute money to make sure that things were done for the good of South Africa at the time. But it is only certain levels that knows that story. And those are the things we must make sure we do not allow to continue.
Yeah, but how, maybe he started it, the Oni, spoke in that direction. Because the next question is, how do we go about it? He gave some examples. He cited an example of his own Modakeke issue in his home state, and how he had taken on that issue by engaging, metaphorically rolling up his sleeves and getting to it, going to the scene and finding out stuff. I don't quite understand when we get a chance to speak with him, which might be later on in the program. He said something about needing to go in the dead of the night. I didn't know if that was a metaphor or that was actuality, but he seems to be saying that, not even seems, it was clear enough that all of you are elite, all of you are rulers, all of you are leaders. You just, as it were, hide out in plain sight in Abuja and Lagos. And Nigeria is more than that. And then I was wondering what that was all about. And then he's made the telling statement that, but you leave all of us district heads, traditional rulers, royalty, you leave us there in that place that you yourselves, and I want somebody to check me if I'm overstating the matter, you know that you couldn't do that. You couldn't stay with your constituents for a week. Now, some really, spilling some tea, as they say.
It's as simple as being fair to everyone. Look, at the end of the day, the youths they have time. They're able to see within the lines. So some of the things that some of us do not pay attention to, they're paying attention to it. I know that at some forum, the Ooni of Ife had enjoined the youth that, okay, you guys spend more time with Big Brother Africa and all of that. And for me, look, it is what catches people's interest that people spend time on. Are we, as a people, doing things to sort of properly mentor our youth to the extent that, look, if I continue to do things, I say to my children, no, don't go and watch television in the neighbor's house. And we don't have television. You understand? But each time they know that there's football, daddy will sneak out and go and watch football. They would go and start watching football. So the thing is, it has happened to me before. We had to buy a TV for a friend because it was clear that each time we get to the house, the children are out to go and watch in the neighbor's house. And we said, no, this can't continue to happen, because if you do not want them to imbibe the culture of the next neighbor's family to sort of bring that into your house, you need to find a way of keeping your children in your house. So as Nigerians, we must not necessarily say, no, come and take our seats. What we're saying is this seat is for take. It is yours. Make sure that what we are doing, and we're very upfront with it, because whether we're upfront with it or not, they're seeing us. My children knows me inside out. Whether I sit them down or not, I must understand that whatever I'm doing, I'm probably one of their most important mentor, and they're looking forward to me. Are we as Nigerians proud to say we want our children to be like us?
It's good that he's spoken this truth out. A lot of people are saying, if you look at the comments that, because it's been shared all over all over the place, and people are commenting, and it seems that what people are commenting is that this needed to be said.
Absolutely.
We knew it, but nobody in authority is going to say it. We're all busy looking the other way. We're being quiet, and the Oni said, we need to stop deceiving ourselves. In fact, one line I remember from that speech is that we're all gathered here to talk. Enough of the talk. We need to now walk the walk. He seemed to be indicating that place, when it comes to walking the walk, we tend to get a bit lethargic. But let me go back to this whole matter of engaging the youth. It has often been pointed out that all of these First Republic, Second Republic notable figures, they started as youth. And they were able to move in and, quite frankly, do us proud. The point is, they never wanted to leave. They never left. And so the 27-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, the 28, 29, 30 years old, all those guys who were fighting for our independence, well, they all got gray in there. They didn't work out the succession plan of how it would take over. And he was perhaps harking back to that kind of a thing, because Nigeria clearly is rich in youth, it's rich in intellect. You just need to look at the internet all over the country and all over the world where Nigerians are doing great things. But right here, I think he was indicating there's hardly room for them to be participatory. They're not taking on, not as a favor, not as I'm doing something good for you, but you're an integral part of our calculus. How can anybody calculate without including the youth, without including the women, in addition to the men?
And at the end of the day, we are all starting to pay for that very grievous mistakes. Because for me, as far as I'm concerned, what is happening to us all over Nigeria right now is very avoidable. We should blame ourselves.
And he said we're all in danger.
Yes, we are.
The Ooni said we're all in danger if we don't address this issue.
It is clear and it is avoidable. It's something that we can do without.
Okay. Let's talk about, we have a little short, as I said. We just might be lucky and be able to talk with the Ooni directly, but we have a sound, a clip.
On the path of peace.
It's very important for all of us to know that we are not all safe. We are not safe at all. Let us engage a lot of youth organizations that are very relevant, that understands the local government administration, the governance within every district, every category of the localization of this country. It's very important for us.
It's important that we keep on sitting together to talk. Yes, let's talk. Let's see one another. Let's greet one another, so that will exude hope in the masses that their leaders are talking. But behind the talk, let's go back to serious issues of implementing whatever comes out from such forum, and with honesty, sincerity, and fear of God.
Okay, there you go. As you saw, His Eminence there was saying that we got to action those things we talk about. And of course, there's the suggestion in there that that hasn't always been the case. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking now. And when the Ooni now spoke, he said, you know what, it's time to chill a bit on the talk and let's begin to look at walking the walk. I don't know, the Ooni, there's something the Ooni sort of initiated. It's called a Royal Young Leadership Forum, and I believe he launched the second edition of it. So this is something he started way back. So again, when we get to speak with him, we'll ask him, what the inspiration for that was. He has this project called Royal Young Leadership Forum. At least he's starting from somewhere. Yesterday we had a conversation on here. We're always talking about Nigeria, and the long and short of it was thought to be, we need an attitudinal shift, all of us. Of course, we had a nice long chat about that. Say, how are we going to get there? Because since when did advising a person to do the right thing have much effect? But that's what we're busy doing. And people think that we need, it's been called all sorts of things. It's been called a spiritual rebirth, and that kind of a thing. In other words, we have to change our attitude from that which exists now. How are we going to go about that, do you think?
Now, for instance, we just had two of our leaders, the Ooni of Ife and the Sultan of Sokoto, talking about the same thing. Now, the thing we need to start to ask ourselves is, so when we talk youth, and let's be honest with ourselves, what normally would jump into our mind are those disrespectful people. We're easy to say to ourselves, oh, those youth, they're lazy, they don't want to walk, they don't want to do this. The point is, how do you get somebody to walk if you did not teach the person to walk? Exactly. If you now want to talk about journalism, for instance, you would always say, oh, that we had good training. We had the opportunity of having the BBC and the host of them coming. Now, the truth of the matter is, Uncle Yori, can you beat your chest and say that the quality of training you guys got are the kind of training we are getting? And the truth of the matter is...
I get you. I get the point you're making. Mr. Kesandu, good morning, sir. Thank you for holding on.
Uncle Yori, good morning. Good morning, our guest.
Good morning, sir.
I am a Nigerian youth, and Uncle Yori, you made a very valid point. You said there is need for attitudinal change. The truth about it is that our elders in this country do not value us. That is just the blunt truth. Uncle Yori, let me tell you, I'm just 30 years of age. And you know very well that every morning we contribute our own time, resources to make impulse on how we can actually make this country better. And you agree with me that we have never allowed sentiments to become a sense of reason and judgment. But unfortunately, our leaders are so concerned with these other ones that are very destructive. What about this little percentage you are ready to contribute their quota? Look at the president's cabinet. How many youths are there? You cannot come to talk about issues concerning the development of this country. These are the insecurity we're having now. And I can tell you, the insecurity we're having now is caused by, let's say, the youth that are even doing this whole thing are between the ages of even 18 to like probably 40. And you'll be discussing issues like this, you will not involve us. You will discuss issues about our development, you will not involve us. Uncle Yori, for instance, how will somebody like us take over the government or take over the country tomorrow if you don't bring us into the scheme of things? It is only when you carry us along. Uncle Yori, some of us have capacity to even be local government chairman, commissioners, and bring certain innovative ideas for the development of our states and even country at large.
Indeed.
But they don't want to. You want to discuss issues, you will not bring us in, you will just keep us at the background. Elders will come to discuss issues about the youth. If you discuss our issues without us, it simply means you're against us. It is high time our government looks inward and find a way to incorporate us into the scheme of things in this country. We are ready to contribute our quota. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much for calling in. You know, it reminds me again, those leaders of ours that were speaking at that event. The Ooni also pointed out, if I remember, he pointed out so many different things, but this one that I'm thinking about, he says, take a look at the local government structure in this country. Where is it? Has it not been, he didn't exactly use those words, but the meaning is, has it not been frustrated and sabotaged such that it is not able to behave as a tier, an effective tier that it is? So he had so many criticisms, and maybe that's why he ended, you know, his time on the mic before he, as it were, dropped the mic by saying, enough of this talk. We now need to walk the talk, which was what was said by His Eminence that we also saw speak after him. I don't know how they cut it, but because His Eminence had spoken before, that is evident in the speech of the Ooni himself. You know, this is a challenge. I don't know where it's going, but it definitely is a national challenge for us. The youth, the Ooni made it sound like the youth, as he defined it, right up to 40, as Kesandu has also just described it, something like 70% of the pie. And those of us that he said are not safe, meaning the elite, he said at the very, very best, maybe 30%. So there's a problem that people are not seeing.
Let's look at it from the commercial angle. So if you go to one of the top companies.
Oh, 1 second, please.
Okay.
Let me bring on Kingsley. Good morning, Mr. Kingsley in Port Harcourt. Did I just lose you? Kingsley, I think just as I was signing you on, the line said not this time.
Now, so if you want to do a commercial and you say, oh, I'm targeting the youth, the concern is, so what are you going to do to excite them, entertainment and all of that?
How are you going to catch their attention?
So are we saying that it is not possible in Nigeria to design something to develop entrepreneurs, to develop workplace, to develop character, to develop? Those are the building blocks. We've left them. You can't go to discuss anything. For those of us who build content, they would ask you, where's the entertainment angle? Because it is believed that the Nigerian youth typify entertainment, typify play, typify security.
I hear all of that, but like in any proper advertising campaign, you've got to have a way to attract the attention of your audience.
That's the point.
You've got to know your audience and then attract their attention.
That's you're still on my line, sir. So
yes, I am.
Know the audience. In other words, the Nigerian youth are only attracted by entertainment. Are we supposed to allow that?
That is the part I was also, in my own contribution, seeking to argue about.
So those
argue about
can
that.
We do something?
Is it true to say, yeah, the youth by their very nature, by their very definition, by their very existence, note what's going on around them. And entertainment is not a dirty word. No,
great,
yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
But it's part of it. So you need to develop farming, you need to develop estate management, you need to develop a lot of other industries and areas. What are we doing to make sure that we sort of navigate or help them think, through that?
Because by not doing so, it seemed that the Ooni was saying that there's a whole powerhouse that we are letting be fallow. And fallow is even good because it's dangerous.
It is.
You might want to think of it as a ticking time bomb.
It is a ticking time bomb.
Mr. Garba, good morning, sir, and thank you for holding on. Go ahead now, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yari. Good morning to your guests over there.
Yeah,
Good morning.
You see, I will say this briefly. The government are not engaging the youth. That's the fact. Uncle Yari, look at the migration that is happening from the north to west to south. 80% to 90%, you see that they are between that edge bracket, 40 downwards. The migration that is happening within Africa to Western world, if you look at it, those that are involved in dangerous journey. You look at it to the edge of that 40 downwards. Uncle Yori, I'm calling from Benin State here. If now the Benin State governor shout for you to come out, you will engage them in farming activities. At the end of the day, you will see those that they will show up are more or less out of 50, 60, 70. And all these implement, maybe the assistance that they will give them rurally, you look at it, they will give to that the same cycle of people. Whereas the youth are there. They are struggling outside, doing Okada, doing all these manual jobs, that if you engage them in that farming activity, they can make that day productive and make the state and the country at large productive. But they will not do that. They rather engage those people that are within them, recycling them, giving them also kind of incentives. But at the end of the day, they will not make it productive. They will go back home and keep it with school. But because there, they will start thinking, and there's a saying that says, an idle man is a devil workshop. 80% of our youth, because of lack of that training and engagement that our government, our youth, our elite are not doing, that will cause all these kind of issues. If you look at the banditry that is happening in the north, in south, if you look at the age of people that are doing banditry are between that age of 40 downwards. So just imagine if the government can engage them. I'm telling you, I as a youth, when I see my age bracket is doing something contrary to what is against the law, I will not allow him. I will stop him there. Because I know the government has engaged me, and I will not allow you to sabotage what the government has already done, and what the government has already put in place. Have a nice day in Lagos.
Thank you very much for calling in. And in that speech, I mean, it was a gathering of rulers, traditional rulers, and all of them spoke. It's just that that of the speech of Ooni was a bit out of character. By which I mean that I don't know what the English of Oromi Nkwagba is, but you get my meaning.
Yes, I do.
So Yoruba-speaking people, I'm so sorry, you will understand that. That's the way our elders usually are. But this time the Ooni said, somebody has to say
because at the end of the day,
we have to speak up. We're not safe.
Because it's now bordering on safety. So no matter how long you want to take it in, if it now starts to, bother on your security, on your well-being, on your being alive, it will get to a point that you will have to speak up. It's gotten to a point where...
Because, he said, we know, and that's another, that they're not ghosts.
They're our children.
Yeah, they are children.
That's why it is more damage.
And they are knowable.
Yeah.
We know things.
They are our children.
The state knows things,
yes,
but the state is not admitting to knowing things.
Because we're always using them against...
There you go.
Yes.
I have someone else on the line. Lawrence. Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, I've been following up your conversation, which is very topical. Yes. What I see is that what the Ooni of Ife is warning us in Nigeria against, I see you practicing it right now, talking the talk. I think our conversation should be centered on walking the talk. Now, how do we put ideas together? What kind of ideas can we put together to make governance work in Nigeria. Currently, we have a problem in this country. I watched the governor of Akwa Ibom made a very articulate statement that we don't need professional politicians. We need professionals in politics. Nigeria is consummated with a whole lot of mediocres who are called themselves politicians. We need to disengage. How do we walk the talk? The policies of government must be centered on the youth. It must be so. Today, as I'm talking to you, the Not Too Young to Run bill is killed in the National Assembly. So many issues concerning policy making, which are supposed to engage the youth, has been killed. Why? Because the money bags are there. Our uncles are there. So they cannot allow these boys to come on board. They call them boys with no ideas. So how can Nigeria work? Because we have not disconnected money politics, professional politicians from governance. Until we're able to do that, we can walk the talk. We can go on lamenting from morning to night, join issues, ideas of what is happening. That does not solve the problem. The Ooni of Ife said we should walk the talk. Let's start now to galvanize ideas, how to make governance Nigeria great again. Thank you once more for it.
Thank you very much, Lawrence, for calling in. Because, you see, we have to talk about this matter. And he said, you people are talking about this, the whole thing.
We're so walking because this is what we do. We talk.
Yes, so we're walking the talk.
Yeah, we're walking the talk.
Some people I like the end. I like how it ended. So the question really is, so how do we now walk the talk? Which the Ooni of Ife, in a few seconds, tried to illustrate possibilities of, he explained an example in his own domain where he had taken it on. Otherwise, what would have become another fracas? It just turned out that because of investigation, because people didn't leave it alone and just let it go where it wanted to, now found out that, youths were actually more interested in securing their own, boundaries and all of that. And so is that the issue? They could sort it out and there was peace all around. Imagine if it had been allowed to fester. That's a very simplistic example, but it does indicate what could be done. And we referred to this earlier when I was saying that, the Ooni of Ife was talking about metaphorically rolling up your sleeves and becoming engaged in the whole matter.
So when we go and defend the fact that, okay, so we want to target the youth, they would always play up the good in the youth. They would say that, oh, they're energetic, they're innovative, they have all the creativity to deliver the goods. Now, the question is, as Nigerians, do we see that truly in our youth? Do we understand? We're not giving them anything, like you earlier, said. We're not actually dashing them. When you engage the youth, you're actually taking advantage of a resource, of a capital.
Spot on.
Because if they would do it better.
It's our asset. We can't allow it to lie fallow. So but that is exactly what we have been doing, would be one argument, because the youths are not involved as much as they could be. The result is that
so 80% of our capital is in the warehouse.
Exactly.
So we're running with 20% of the capital.
Mr. Aminu in Yola, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yori. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Well, Nigerians, we tend to forget seriously. Our politicians messed us up from 1999 to date, unfortunately, because we would have built a new generation of human beings that are disciplined, well-educated, well-cultured, but unfortunately we missed it. And we are now at the receiving end. So it is imperative for every one of us, and from the president to the Senate to the representative to the governors, to agree there is a disconnect between a certain generation of people to certain generation of people. There is a disconnect between certain level of governance and other levels of governance. If you don't fix the local government, if you don't fix the traditional institutions, if you don't give them roles, if you don't inculcate community workings, definitely we are not going to get it right in Nigeria. The fundamental point is we must fix our local government. We must allow them to function at all times. Financially, this is a training ground for upcoming generations.
Okay.
We can't be deceiving ourselves. It's natural for us to do certain things on the right direction. When Rufai is saying that right-sizing and downsizing, this is the reality of where we should be. So, Mr. Yori, they only have said it all. We should stop the talking. We should do the work.
Now we need to begin to do
From
the work.
the president to the local government chairman.
Yes.
We should do the work.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Amino. Appreciate your call from Ayola, and the line was very good. Maybe when we get, if we get to be able to speak with the Ooni, we'll be able to ask him ideas on walking the walk. We talked the talk for decades. Just about everybody knows. In fact, everybody knows what the Ooni was saying. But you see, the Ooni has a voice that will go around the world, and this time you can't just flick it off. So say, no, you can't flick it off. So you are hearing it.
So you have just touched on something that is very interesting. The Ooni has a voice, and incidentally, whether we want to appreciate or recognize it or not, the youth also they have their voice as well.
Yeah.
So the internet, the social media is so loud, and whether we like it or not, that is what is happening to us right now. Really, rather than use those voices positively, then they are beginning to use it negatively. Why? Because we did not train them.
Okay.
It is our fault.
Babs in Owerri, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle.
Oh, Ralph. I'm sorry, it's Ralph. I don't know how I heard Babs.
Yes.
It's Ralph. Good morning, Ralph.
That's fine. That's okay. Morning.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about the youth, it's time for youth and change of our nation and governance.
Yes, and how to begin to walk the walk.
I want to say this. How old was Tony Enahoro when he moved Nigerian independence? 23. How old was Gowon when he became head of state? 32. How old was Obasanjo? Buhari as head of state? Oh, we're in their 30s. Dimechi Bankole, Bayo Sanyim, and the list goes on. All govern at the prime of their youth. Governor Mechi, Bello, the rest of them were all youth in office. And in governance, how far has Nigerian progressed since then? We want youth. Youth must take over. Youth must this, youth must on that. Nobody's against it. But the truth is this, the lyrics are becoming boring, for Christ's sake. All we need now, for Christ's sake, we need well-prepared, educated, focused, dynamic, and humble, innovative youth, if there's anything like that. And God-fearing, if there is any word like that. Who will take up the governance of this nation? What am I saying? We want youth who must take over this nation prepared. My advice is for will-be leaders, whether old or young, to get themselves prepared. We are not prepared. Nobody gives you rain. You get yourself prepared. Update yourselves with modern and dynamic innovations, ideas. You don't shoot your way to the top. Nobody will take you serious. They'll keep calling us out.
Okay.
Surround yourself with deep thinkers and quality advisors. That is what we need.
Yes.
Bernie Sanders in America was very old. Yet the youth went after him. Why? Because he had what they wanted. The young went after him. Okay? Rubio and the rest of them who were youth in America were not voted. The youth are often projected as a group that cannot take charge. That has to be pampered and petted for them to take responsibilities. They're always seen as a means of violence and conducting all kinds of manipulism. A proper realignment of the youth and the place of youth on our nation system must necessarily be done now. We should stop projecting the image of the youth as people that are prone to exuberances and irresponsibilities, sentiment and decadence. It's wrong. Great youth should sit up and see these periods as when we should build with immense strength and also to build this nation. Okoyere, I'm calling from Owerri. When I say I'm calling from Owerri, you know what that means. It's time we rise up. You don't shoot yourself to the top. You get yourself prepared. The world is moving ahead. Innovatively, you can't have the taking over.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Ralph. Really appreciate your call. Ralph's submission in there were times when I wasn't quite sure the point he was making, whether he was making the point of, look, the youth, their value is sometimes overstated, but as he continued, that's not what he was saying. he came back again. But I think at the end of the day, it's not that because you are a youth, as of right, no, you don't have anything as of right. But we do need your fresh legs. We do need your fresh ideas, especially for the serious and the cerebral among the youth. Youths come with different talents. That was why I was going to have this little conversation with you about attracting the youth with entertainment. Whereas, as I said, entertainment is not a dirty word, but there's so many youth that go beyond entertainment. And entertainment is a part of it. After all said and done, entertainment is also attractive to the old as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So
everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah.
But I think what Ralph was saying in there is that we need youths who can do and who are self-starters. Because if you're waiting there in your room, hoping that somebody is going to be with a torchlight and a platter looking to serve you, that's not how it works. So I don't think anybody is saying that. Incidentally,
there's some gatesmen who are already seated at the gates. And so there's a need for us to take the fight to them and accuse them and say to them, you are denying Nigerians of this great asset. And I think all of us must shout very loud. There are few gatesmen. What they have done for us over the years is that they have denied us the opportunity. Look, these same youth are the ones who are doing very well all over the world. They're very creative. They're extremely,
because they have the enabling environment to flourish, I'm guessing.
No, the point is, I'm even saying, even right here. You see, the thing is, the fact that you're a young person naturally gives you an advantage because you're more energetic.
Unless you're stifled. Unless you're stifled.
Yes.
Let me take Uche from Port Harcourt. Good morning, Uche.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the program. My point is that there is saying that a free society that cannot save the few who are rich would never help the many who are poor. The free society that cannot save the many who are poor will not save the few who are rich, rather. Whatever happens, over time, the youth definitely, as the whole thing is beginning to bubble, it will definitely go around over time. But my point is this, you cannot start fixing something that ought to start from the top. You want to start fixing it from the bottom. The youth, we know today, somehow, there's some level of pollution that is ongoing that has also affected almost everybody in Nigeria.
Okay.
The repair should start from the top, particularly the legal and judicial system. Let law be what it should be in the country. Because even the so-called politicians, the elderly ones, the old ones out there, are the ones that are polluting this youth so badly that even if they get in that power, they will even do worse. With their youthful vibrancy and all of that, they will do worse. So what I think is that if we have a working system where the judicial system will have all they need to work with, now curbing all the excesses of the leaders and the youth, anybody, including the elderly, including the youth, anybody who goes into governance will work. And eventually we'll have a working system for the entire people. It's not.
All right then. Well, thank you very much for calling in. And I'm delighted to be able to report that it looks like we've made connection with His Royal Majesty Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II, Role Odua, and Ooni of Ife. Good morning, Your Majesty.
Good morning. Good morning. Well done.
Indeed.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. This speech that you made the other day, as you must have seen, it's gone very viral. Maybe I shouldn't have put very there. Viral is enough. It's gone viral. And because people felt that you were touching some points that, even though they were not unaware of those points, hearing it from such lofty heights as yours and your other royal colleagues in that place, I wanted to ask you, you ended by saying, and I'll be crisscrossing the speech, you ended by saying that enough of talking the talk, it's now time to walk the walk. People have been wondering, so how do we go about that, walking the walk? Are you talking about an attitudinal change?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Very true. We cannot, like I said, we haven't gotten very positive results over a long period of time in our their country, Nigeria. What is critical for us is try other means. Let us try other means. Every other means we've been trying, it hasn't been working. How well is the economy of this country growing vis-a-vis the rate at which we're having the growth in the system? The system is growing at the average 3.5 to 4%. So every day we are producing youth. Everybody is going for marriage ceremony, and they are pushing everybody to just continue to get married, and we don't have any birth control. So therefore, we are producing youth astronomically in this country, but the rate at which the economy is growing is not matching up. So there is a problem structurally. If you put the best of the best sayings in governance, there's nothing you can do. You can't even perform any magic. Let's be very truthful to ourselves. So what is critical is the rate at which we are producing youths in this country, as if we are manufacturing them. They are useful too. Let us all come together and hand over governance. Let them be partakers of this government. They're very fast in their approach. A lot of people will say, what have they done in the country? That's not true. I go out myself to research for a lot of Nigerian youth. You will not believe what they're doing outside government. They are doing exceptionally well. Look at what, I'll give you a good example. Digital currency. Central Bank just announced recently that very soon our country will soon have digital currency. Who discovered digital currency in the world? Who brought it to Nigeria? It's this youth. Some of them will say they can only produce Nigerian youths that are 419, that are pastors, that are all sorts. They are just milking and messing up the system. No. If you take time, who is understudying them, what we are producing, that we are all seated on a keg of gunpowder. Nobody is doing thorough research about who they are and what are they doing by themselves. So to me, as a traditional ruler, on behalf of my other colleagues, we need to change our style. They need to be represented and let them actually work on how to be partakers in leadership in this country.
Because,
look at the pioneers of Nigeria.
Yeah, because Your Majesty,
they were used to.
Your Majesty, you did say there that all our efforts were actually, if we continue to do what we are doing and expect a different result, all our efforts are destined for failure because the foundation, you used the example even of the venue of your speech, that if that building, if the foundation was faulty, it was going to come crashing down. So we're talking about foundational issues here. Things have been let, to run on their own for far too long, and we have the situation that we have. I wonder if that kind of thinking sort of factors into some initiative of yours, the Royal Young Leadership Forum. You launched the second anniversary, I believe, recently. Is this an effort by you to try and do something about the rot and decay that you said is a lot in the country at the moment, at the foundation?
Absolutely. That's what we are focusing on. What we're just doing is just to create a forum of the foundation of and the mainstay of the leadership of this country, both in the private sector and in the public sector. Look at anything in this country, the good and the bad. I said it in the speech too. Every localized environment, it's the youth that they will converge. They will converge for the good, they will converge for the bad. They are very active. So therefore, why can't we focus on how to converge the good? And I've been doing it, and that is what I think government should focus more on. Because the rate at which they are coming out, it's astronomical. So Royal Young Leadership Forum, it's an African initiative, but we are starting, charity begins at home. We are starting from Nigeria, and it's been very successful. And that is what I've been telling government, that everything, politics is local, your growing up is very local. You must start from a particular localized environment before you get to a level. So if we localize things in this country, things will be a lot better. We haven't really focused on the governance of every localized environment in this country. It has actually failed us. That's our foundation, and that's what I'm working on.
And also, part of our foundation, you spoke about it in your speech, and we spoke about it before you were able to come on, the state of local government administration in this country. You had indicated in your speech that it was in a sorry state. Your Majesty?
Are you there?
Yes.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, did you hear me?
Question.
I said you had also commented on the state of affairs in the local government tier in our country, that it's in shambles and you can't really expect to be able to build much on the shambolic nature of it.
Because that's the truth, and that's the foundation of every one of us. You must have been given back somewhere before you were one of the best TV presenters today. So when they are reading your profile, they will have told us where you were born and what you did at some point. And that's your formative years. Those formative years we need to guard and guide those formative period for everybody. You must have emerged from somewhere. So why are we not focusing on our emergence? Why are we now trying to take it on top? And that's what I mean by the foundation has a problem. So local government administration, that is what I'm focusing on, and that's what I said. I didn't get into how it's been formed. No, it's administration. Have you heard about a speaker of any local government? When last did you hear about it? You only hear of speaker of a state and speaker of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But we should have speaker. The law says they should have their own National Assembly, which is from local level. When last did they sit down? It's completely destroyed. So what are you expecting? Everybody's just doing what they want. So it's very important we go back to that administration. Any state can have as many local government as they want. It's not necessary that the federal should regulate it. It should be 100% autonomous, because that's our foundation. Our foundation is critical. It must be very rock solid. It must be well structured. Once we get that, it is thing that we have not been doing in Nigeria. Once we can do that, a lot of big things will be better. You can easily trace bandits. You can easily trace people that are doing bad. They live in our midst. They have wives. They have girlfriends. They go to the same market we go to buy everything. So how come they are giving us problem of security? We are not serious.
Indeed. And you seem to indicate in your speech that there's very little that is hidden, that these are known. You had said, I'm paraphrasing that, they are not ghosts. They are not ghosts. How come we are now sitting bemused, befuddled, confused? What is going on around us? You seem to be indicating that perhaps we are not being as forthright as we could be. And that in itself could be a danger. You seem to indicate, let me just add that I got that impression that you and your other royal fathers, you are the guys left carrying the can. Because all the other people, you are challenged that who among you people here, from the Senate President to the Speaker, to even the gatekeepers, the service chiefs that were there, how many of you can go back to your constituencies and stay there for a week in comfort? But that's exactly what is the lot of royal fathers up and down this land. You people have to stay with them and engage with them and, you know, just do the best that you can.
Are you there?
Yes, Your Majesty. Did you hear me? You seem to be okay.
Yes, I heard to some point. But where I heard to, yes, that's the truth. The truth is said, it's still linked to what I'm saying. At some point in this country, we will see our leaders going to their constituencies to relate with people. From the state level to federal level, it naturally enhances the economy of those localized environments. It's a trend in this country at some point. Very, very profound. All our leaders, they do it, both at all different arms. But it's now history. If you try it, you want to always run back to the city. And I mentioned that it is not only Abuja, Lagos, or maybe Port Harcourt that is Nigeria. Why are you abandoning your local environment? That is the foundation. If there is problem there, let us, all of us, sit down there and face it. Stop running away and continue to do this artificial impression that all is well. All is not well. So
all is not well. You did say
very critical. The people that you have left behind.
Okay, Your Majesty, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but as you said, all is not well. You said we are not safe in as long as that 70%, you gave a rough division, 30% to 70%, and as long as that 70% is not positively engaged with the development of our society, you said that all of us were not safe, and certainly the 30%, they're not safe. But it would seem to me, Your Majesty, that it's not a lost cause. You feel that it's not a lost cause, otherwise you wouldn't be establishing the Royal Young Leadership Forum. So you believe that there still is hope. We could get back on the path of rectitude. Am I correct, Your Majesty?
You're very correct. I just want our leaders in the public sector, the government should focus more on them. We don't pray for NSAS again. Look at what the youths did. They almost shut down the country just within how many days, and look at the spiral effect, and they started looting, everywhere. Maybe some of them had some very positive, genuine intention to just protest, and some other aspect of them took it over. The good and the bad, we experienced it during NSAS. Initially, they started well, they meant well, but the bad took it over. So why can't we focus on, we saw it. In fact, the president of the country had to come out to give a speech. That's the power of the youth. That is the power of an active population. So let us engage them more. Everything we should be doing in Nigeria should focus towards them. And that's the truth. Because they are hungry, I said it, and they are angry.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Your Royal Majesty. Thank you very much, Ooni Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II, Aruli Odua, and Ooni of Ife for making time for us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Yeah. Now, that was something of a treat, to get His Royal Majesty to expatiate a bit on some of those points. He is hopeful. He has done something. He has a Royal Youth Leadership Forum, because it's like he's trying to swim against this current of where everybody, the whole country seems to be going. And I imagine he's hoping that by his example, other people will action similar things. But it was a timely, what shall we say, conversation that the Ooni started, which you say, in closing.
I would just say that we have 70% using the calculations of the Ooni, 70% of our assets being kept in the warehouse. We should challenge any manager of our economy, the president, governor, or chairman of a local government, who refuses to deploy and employ that part of our asset and keep using the 30% that have obviously over the years have failed us. We cannot continue like that. What we need to do right now is to activate, employ, deploy the 70% of the assets that we have and have left unused over the years.
Indeed. I think I'll also leave it there. Thank you very much, Seyi Adeyemo, publisher of Inside Africa No, Inside Watch Africa, aka IWA magazine, African Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much for coming on our program, and thank you very much as well for joining us this morning. So that's our program. We'll see you on Monday, God willing, for a fresh edition. In the meantime, all over the weekend, as Nigeria seems to be turning to normal, whether normal still likes it or not, Nigerians are returning to normal. But still remember to, socially distance, wash your hands, mask up, and did I remember? Yeah, and for those of you that took the first dose of the vaccine, they've been sending messages around now. It's time for the second dose. You don't forget to take it. And for those that are still considering, maybe you consider in favor of the vaccine. I just said my own little two-piece. I'm Yori Folani. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.